Hasbro tends to handle non-G1 characters with the tenderness of a hungry Tyrannosaurus Rex locked in a room full of delicious, creamy children. Which is to say that if they aren't maimed until horrifically unrecognizable, they've lost anything about them that made them unique or distinctive in the first place. So as Legacy heads into its third and final year, and as they've coincidentally started running out of G1 characters anybody gives a shit about, is Legacy United Animated Universe Optimus Prime a sign of the tides turning? Will Hasbro finally embrace what they needed to since Legacy began? Welcome back to the show, it's Years Mei. I've definitely mentioned before that Animated is my all-time favorite Transformers show, and since the series has been out of the limelight for so long, getting a new animated figure is like coming home to an old friend, especially if that old friend happened to look like Fern from Free Ren, wearing a golden bikini, holding a Barnes & Noble gift card. My usage of the word coming would be applied very generously. Animated Universe Optimus feels like meeting that old friend again. Hasbro went above and beyond, making sure this character looked as authentic as possible. The boxy, non-Euclidean masses of shape, crisp lines and angles making up the surface details, and his proportions are, in a word, super heroic. Derek Wyatt's iconic art style shines throughout this figure. This high level of regard for the show's design language extends to the head sculpt in particular, which was something I definitely was not expecting. I thought they did a pretty good job with Animated Prowl, but it was as if they turned him into a G1 character. Optimus is so true to the cartoon appearance that he actually has black outlines around his eyes and face. They did tip the scales back just a little bit, putting a dash of Generation Speech on there by making the head a little boxier and adding some extra surface detailing to his body. This brings the figure that much closer in likeness to G1 Optimus, but without pushing it as far as, say, Legacy Skyquake. Legacy Animated Optimus is a robustly designed toy. All of the major joints are pinned and every piece seems to be molded in the proper color. The figure has a great sense of cohesion thanks to this, especially in vehicle mode. Even the chest is red plastic with a painted insert for the windows. So while there is a lot to love about this toy, you could tell Hasbro was still up to their usual shenanigans in a few obvious ways. First of all, most of the paint went toward the vehicle mode, so Hasbro did get a little stingy Ikari when it comes to the robot mode. He's missing yellow accenting on his head, his fists, and his feet. I know paintwork is expensive, but I think there needs to be some kind of rule for how paint is applied, because when the bottom half of the figure is almost completely devoid of paint, it gives it that play school effect that I just don't care for. Another thing I don't care for is how out of all of the other visible gaps on this figure, including several that face the front of the toy, the ones they decided to fill in were in the bottoms of his fists. They are good looking fists, to be fair. Nice big thick digits, perfect for finger blasting some black arachnussy behind a Little Caesars. But his hands are actually so big, he has a hard time holding certain accessories if the handle is too short. There is an obvious masturbation joke here, but I'm not sure I can pull it off. It might rub some people the wrong way. And let's not beat around the bush here. Optimus's axe it's just okay. I'm glad that they went for a very accurate sculpt, which the old Voyager failed to do actually. And they even had the great foresight to put a 5mm port in the booster, so you can add some effect parts to turn it into a rocket axe. But it's so f***ing big. It's bigger than Mei-chan. The reason the axe is so big is that for whatever baffling reason, Hasbro decided this figure needed to have an actual gimmick. You may have noticed that the upper part of the axe is thick as shit, and that's because the bottom part of the handle telescopes out, much like it does in the show. While it is a cool idea, conceptually, this bulbous and phallic section makes the weapon look silly. I much would have preferred if the axe had a show-accurate thin black handle, maybe with an extension piece for two-handed poses. With or without the axe, he poses alright, thankfully. Optimus's articulation is fairly standard stuff. His arms and upper body are quite mobile and his head has a nice range of motion, but his legs feel somewhat stiff because his thighs are so short, and that can make dynamic poses more challenging. To correlate with the visual design of the figure, the transformation also indulges in a markedly faithful approach to its execution. Fans of the original animated toy line may immediately recognize various elements taken from both the Deluxe and Voyager class primes, perfectly fusing them together to create a uniquely structured transformation, with just a touch of modern sophistication on top. Like these flip out hands that I love. That shit got me shooting rope like I'm Joseph Joestar. As with the robot mode, Optimus's vehicle mode hasn't shied away from accurately recreating the fire truck cab from the show, mainly opting to add some new detailing to make it look more high fidelity. The cab is kinda panely on the sides, but I love how they've been able to conceal any garish joints. There's some pretty ugly nub marks on the tops of the bumpers too, but hey, check this shit out. If you open up the front of the cab, you can see two little seats molded onto his shoulders and a steering wheel molded behind his windows. Really cool, realistic embellishments like this are such a treat and remind us of that robots in disguise aspect of the series. He's not wearing a fucking truck as a shirt, okay? He is the truck. Combined with other great details like the all-painted windows and the two-tone light bar, I think this beast looks rather sexy. That is until we see the other side of the vehicle mode. Oh no, not this again. Look, I just don't like the way his feet awkwardly sit right between his wheels. I will admit it could always be worse, and they at least sculpted a few details in. So is it really that bad compared to having an awkwardly shaped, chopped off chunk of a rear end plopped on top of it? The only awkwardly shaped rear end I want plopped on top of me is my sister's. Legacy United Animated Universe Optimus Prime fully embraces everything that made animated such a special show. Between the reverence given to the aesthetics of the series, to the callbacks to the very toy line it spawned, Hasbro has created something that would have given me wet dreams back in 2008. It's not a true remake of the original figure, however. They've still injected it with a moderate infusion of Generations flavor. Sadly, there's multiple problems keeping Optimus from truly sticking the landing too, and they're not minor enough for me to simply overlook. I think I would still cautiously recommend this figure, mainly for its excellent fan service and because it represents a promising direction for mainline Transformers. I'm excited to see more from this year's Legacy pickings, so there's at least one good thing going on with this company right now. They really can't sell that license to Takara fast enough. But anyway, Merry Christmas. I'll see you guys in the new year with some new reviews. Those are my opinions. Please leave yours in the comments below. Bye bye.